is so important. So Ryan, I thank you and Mandy for taking on that task. Makes it seem so small, but being our children's leaders, it's so vital and so important. So when they come and ask you to help out, just say yes. As we go to prayer this evening, let's do remember those children and remember my babies, those teens. And as I tell them, once my baby, always my baby, no matter how old you get. But all of us, we can always use a word from God, a touch from God, guidance from God. We're never beyond that. When we are, we're in trouble. I've learned in my life if Satan's not beating me up, I'm doing something wrong, because he's not going to beat me up if he's already had me. So let's all go to prayer together. Father God, again, as we come before you tonight, we came not as someone rich, but Lord, you gave it all up for us to be with us. Really is nursery, Lord. I tackle comes and the sun begins to melt it away, and it'll create a table behind it. Sometimes when we see it, we're disappointed because we expect it to fly across the sky, and there it is. Just there it is. I remember where we lived in Virginia, there was a comet coming through, and I called the neighbors. I said, tell Jenna to come on over. We can see the comet. I said, yeah, but it's not moving. Well, it's really going to look like it down the sea. I just believe that the King of Kings to know. I don't know for sure. And as I read and study the scriptures, I wonder if that right beneath the surface. Because they'd taken their eyes off of the light. They'd taken their eyes off of the star, and they tried to rely upon themselves for just the last few miles. Their life was in danger. You see, when we take our eyes off the light, we stumble. We'll go places that we should never go. We'll befriend people in unhealthy ways that we should never do. And we begin to trust our own strength and figure out that's the formula for success, but really it's the formula for failure. Abraham took his eyes off of God's plan and he lost his way. Having another son was never God's plan. It was what Abraham and Sarah chose. And then having to deal with a jealous wife was what Abraham had to live with. And she too was beginning to feel the promise of God had passed her by. She lost her trust. She took her eyes off of God. One of the questions they ask you now, when I guess maybe 50 is the magic mark. Have you fallen in the last 6 months when you go to the doctor? Well, they didn't ask me last time. I was thankful because I was either going to have to tell them the truth or lie. But let me explain myself. Do you know right outside here at the corner of the church, there's about a 1-inch lip between the one part of the sidewalk and the other? And I was walking around there one night. I took some trash out of the dumpster, and as I was coming back, it was dark. The next thing you know, I'm going down. Now, literally, my mind thought fast enough. You're falling. Catch yourself. But I rolled, and I got back up slowly, and I looked around, and none of those dogs were barking, so nobody saw me. Like, thank goodness. Nothing was hurt. Nothing was broken. And in my vanity, my clothes weren't even torn. And I took out the flashlight. And I'm like, what in the world did I fall over? And there was that little bit of a lip. It wasn't much, but it was enough to catch my foot. In the light, I saw why I tripped. In the light, I would have seen what was there and not tripped in the beginning. But in the darkness, I fell. You see, when we follow the light of Jesus, we don't fall. But in the darkness, we don't see those tripping points all around us, the tripping points that Satan is putting out there constantly for us. But if we're following the light, the Holy Spirit will speak to us and tell us, don't trip. Trust me. Follow me. You see, when the Magi took their eyes off the star for that short amount, they went to the wrong place. In Matthew 2, 9 and 10, we read, "Then the star appeared again. The same star they had seen in the eastern skies. It led them on until it hovered over the place of the child. They could hardly contain themselves. They were in the right place, and they had arrived at the right time." You see, they got their eyes back on God. They got their eyes back on the star, and they found the right place at the right time. They had come into the presence of the new King of Kings. Hallelujah. They arrived, they knelt down before the King, and they worshiped him, and they offered the gifts that had been sent by their kings to give to the new kings. And then in verse 12 we read, "In a dream they were warned not to report back to Herod. So they worked out another route, left the territory without being seen, and returned to their own country. Then God gave them the safety to not return to the earthly appointed time of death." God gave them their safety. God spoke to them and they listened this time. All the way. They didn't have a star to follow back home, but they trusted God. It's not far to Jerusalem, but don't go that way. If you go back there, your life will end. I want you to go back to your country. I want you to go back to your king. I want you to tell them what you have seen. You've seen the King of Kings, the Messiah, the one who's been foretold, the one who the star that you knew that star meant something. Now you know the meaning of that star. Herod would have killed them. We may have never even heard of them arriving if they hadn't listened to God. They had their own wisdom. But now they realized our wisdom is not good enough. God has perfect timing. And we need to be excited for his time of revelation, and his time when he gives his answer to us. And God is the light to follow. It's the only way to avoid the pitfalls that Satan will put in our way. Pitfalls that we'll never see in the darkness. And God has faultless wisdom. It will always direct us through the one true and correct path. The path that's described in the scriptures is narrow, but right and true. One that's going to have struggles along the way, but one that will always bring us closer to God if we continue to walk down that path. As we get closer to the celebration of Christmas, keep your eye on the light. There's so many distractions year-round, but at this time of year it seems to get even worse. But we keep our eye on the light. We follow its direction. It's where God is leading us, and it is leading us to God. And there is no better way. There is no better path. And trust in his wisdom to bring you into the presence of the King of Kings. I love looking at stars. When we had our youth retreat not too long ago at Bertle Tate, they have a telescope over there. And we took the kids up and we looked at stars, and after most of them left, there was about 3 or 4 of us adults, we kind of hung behind and we kept looking at more things. But the one thing, when you look through a telescope, you can't look at the star and really see it. The way your eyeball works in the back of your eye, the colors are seen in the middle, and the black and whites are seen better on the edges. So you look just to the other side of the star, and you can see it better than if you look straight on. But that never works with God. If we try to look to the side, we're taking our eyes off the light. We're taking our eyes off of God. And we will be led astray. Stand with me as we pray. Father God, again, I thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, the light of the world, the bread of life, He is the food that we need for spiritual life. He is the light we need to make our trek through this world. God, I pray that we all seek the light of God in all that we do. To not stray, to not end up in Jerusalem when we need to be in Bethlehem. Watch over us now, Father God, as we go our separate ways. Give us your guiding mercy, and we ask it in your name.